Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Darkest Dungeon. Yeah, we lost a lot of our teammates in the last round, so we lost all four characters. All four characters had two items. That immediately starts the Shrieker back. So theoretically you could end up having to fight the Shrieker every other run as you try to potentially get these level 4 and level 3 characters up to the max level. The real move here, after fighting the Shrieker, which we'll just jump in here, is to potentially just try to do some easier quests and be very safe about it and very conservative. But the problem with that is you don't get gold if you don't push it, but if you push it too far, then people die. Even there, we can see this is a level 6 character that I was willing to take these characters with their stress kind of high because this is just this one fight, but you look at this level 6 character and it's really not not strong enough. Even at that, it's getting targeted and getting hit really fast and very hard. This character, if we look at the Shrieker, he has this shrieking flight attack that just has him fly off and give a bunch of stress to our characters. And so that is kind of what you're looking for. Is the idea of to really defeat the guy quickly and have the shrieking fight happen, but you don't want it. I guess it doesn't matter. Just take the stress and just be done with it with Shrieking Flight, if he is going to do Shrieking Flight. Last thing I want to have happen though is have this guy die. And I don't see anything that would imply that the Shrieking Flight can't just happen. And his health is just a little too high for you to not somewhat recognize and know that you're gonna have to be fairly lucky to kill this character. If I killed him one time and that was that, and then you never had the Shrieker show up again, and instead you just started to find trinkets like in the trash, in the landfill, just have daily events that would give you back your trinkets, or have a building that is devoted to recovering your trinkets, kind of in the same way that
well struck.
That the graveyard is somewhat devoted to. Right. I'm gonna try and heal this character, even though
it
may have been better.
Of skill and purpose.
Yeah. It's punitive, or to say punishing, really, to have to fight a character and waste a week just to help the player get their artifacts back.
Prodigious size alone does not dissuade the
Now, I don't know if there is a way to specifically kill the Shrieker at all, or if it is always a situation where it will fly away before you can get a death blow on it. Although I guess the characters just die. They don't have a death blow effect. Those were definitely items worth trying to recover. But getting a bunch of negative effects from a fight is certainly not something you would want to do.
In truth, I cannot tell how much time has passed since I sent that
And there's
letter.
no way I'm gonna do the farmhouse, so let's just forget it. That's an interesting line of dialogue to say he doesn't even know how much time has passed since he sent the letter, which maybe implies that this guy is maybe an ancestor on top of an ancestor. Okay. So the hope would have been to find something that would have helped us in any way. And the question kind of boils down to is any of that going to help us? I don't think we really have a good opportunity. We could do caregivers convention and get damage minus dodge, or just another sun ring. Which, how many sun rings do we have? We have 3. So a 4th one might be interesting, in case that's what we really need, but it's very possible it's not what we need. And the only way I'd be able to use the sun rings is if I took on the darkest dungeon in the first place. Accuracy and crit on a musketeer. 100% of room battles versus 100% of the room battles. I think you go with the very rare here. Alright. And we've got no gold. So we want to take, I guess, the Plague Doctor, this character, Hellion, maybe. He's a good one too, and Houndmaster. Let's sort by class and see. Like, if we have a level 6 bounty hunter and we have a level 4 bounty hunter, then we really have no need for a level 3 bounty hunter.
It is done. Turn yourself now to the condition of those poor devils who remain.
See, this is a guy that has probably never even been in a run, and the level 4 character still is starting off with 3 negative effects, so yeah, that does imply to me that there may very well just not be a good argument around having a lot of these characters. Okay, so we want to take the antiquarian so we can hold more gold. So let's move that around, move that around, move that around. This Hellion doesn't seem to have anything, so plus accuracy and crit minus dodge. Take that off. Virtue chance is probably not bad. Death door chance is probably not bad. We'll just look at everything else. Okay. The darkest dungeon potentially killing me in real life at this point. Nah, not really. I'm just choking
the
on
campaign can wait. For now,
a graham cracker I ate. Yeah, we have no gold. So while we could look at what we can't buy, I don't know what real value is in that. I'd also say this seems fairly random, and it may top out at very rare. Anything above very rare may just never show up as far as something you could purchase. Even if you could purchase it, you would just never have gold. We can't afford to do anything with stress, and any of these ones that are blinking have effects on them, so their stress needs to go all the way down to 0. We do understand that system now, and honestly it took me longer to figure that out. This almost has me by default going to fight the miller. We have this ring already though, so we should rethink options if there's something we've just never had. I guess the question would be this musketeer, healing skills 30% versus that. A rare musketeer ability. It's probably not a bad move. Let's go with that. We start with some food so we're not totally screwed. And we can take maybe 1 torch, which is not enough to do anything for us. So 1 food. I mean, you can't really buy anything else. So yeah, because of the run in the last episode going bad, and then the first run here just being against the Shrieker, we are
down there
at
in the dark.
just the bottom of the barrel.
We can slay them even faster.
We're just hoping for rewards and gold. It's probably better to go backwards this way and take 5 stress. And just go the other way.
Ambushed by foul invention.
Getting a disease for really no reason in that case. And I guess the question to ask here is, since this is a medium, will we finally get that next dream sequence, or have we just done all the dream sequences with the shield breaker? Guess this character might be a decent character if you know bleeding is a thing that's going to happen in a certain area, or if blight is going to be a thing. I think blight is more of a thing in this dungeon. Yeah, he resisted bleeding, he got infected with blight, so we should lean into the blight attacks. What you really would want is something like a Pokemon experience share item, something that would really just be given to the player after defeating the first major boss or sub-boss. Something that would help the other characters gain something in each of these runs.
Impressive.
The only thing I can really do is stop playing with my top tier level 6 characters in favor of letting other people learn something. But it's really not working.
Well struck.
We'll blight that guy, and that probably will kill that character. So.
The bigger the beast, the greater the glory.
This isn't a
Great is the
terrible
weapon
team
that cuts on its own.
as far as blights. Strange foul can be felt in its presence. Almost certainly that's not going to do anything.
Mind that such missteps are the exception, and not the
We would
rule.
have to find kind of quite a bit of torches to make up for our lack of torches. I suppose we could get some kind of easy turn of events here that would maybe make this the last room battle of this entire run. And if we kind of knew that this was the last room battle of the entire run, that might lead to something else.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the
A
offensive.
level of safety to run around and try and get curios in pitch blackness. But honestly, I just want to kind of succeed. And the Antiquarian seems like he increases your drops of items enough that it's very believable you wouldn't have enough room to pull both tricks.
Unnerved, unbalanced.
These guys are getting more stressed than I was expecting.
Slowly, gently.
I
This is how a
assume
life is taken.
that Blight isn't something that will kill somebody in stealth by always. It would be interesting if that was a
These
reaction to
nightmarish
Blight.
creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
We should probably camp. Should have probably camped before then. Camping will get the light backup, which would also help.
The wounds of war can be healed, but never hidden.
It definitely is a problem here, where it just doesn't feel like we're making progress with these low-level characters. So much so, I don't even really understand how I got my level 6 characters to level 6. Like, I just lost the level 4 character that I was trying to level up. I think it's more than likely a case where it was easier to level up characters when we were the environments, the dungeons were lower levels, and now that everything has leveled up, it's just become a no man's land. Let's see. Let's see if we can kill this guy. Probably not.
Eradicated.
Yeah, I don't know how you work around that either.
Dazed.
It feels like these enemies
About
are
to break.
very much stronger than they should be. I may just have to only take level 1 runs for level 4 groups. This is also probably the second or
As the
third
fiend falls,
shield breaker
a
in
faint
particular,
hope blossoms.
we have defeated. We have killed, not defeated.
Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
Alright.
Secrets and wonders can be found in the most tenebrous corners of this place. A moment of respite. A chance to steel oneself against the coming horrors.
And in a lot of ways, there's probably nothing one could do here. Should potentially just consider producing... I mean, I could do a lot of healing. Could do battle trance. Reduce some stress. Does this guy have any diseases? Yeah. So we could do that. Minus 15% stress. Produce random trinket. Minus 15% stress. The thought of even going on after you've lost somebody is kind of crazy. This guy's leeches would remove a disease. And heal 15%. Two to heal that one. And then two to heal that one. But yeah, it really is just utter insanity to not just flee at this point. Yeah, and I think that's what we do. I think we flee. Can't retreat from combat because we're ambushed, I guess. Stun, shuffle. Let's see if this works. And I just can't retreat, can I? Well, we are in trouble. Retreating now and taking the gold would have been the right move.
Ebbs, terrible vistas of emptiness reveal themselves.
Let's see if we can get Blight to help a ton. Although almost certainly it wouldn't. We'd have to have just like really high dodge.
Breath from becoming unwound. The sin is not in being outmatched, but in failing to recognize it.
There we go.
You cannot learn a thing you think you know.
At least that gets us gold. So we can get some resources. We can do a proper run. Of course, that was at the cost of a life of our shield character, which that sucks. Now this character is Ansi, which that sucks too. Although, in all fairness, it doesn't really feel like a lot of these characters are losing a lot of stress.
It was a yearning, a thirst for discovery that could be neither numbed nor sated.
I could take a level 3 Houndmaster, but I don't see a reason to. Okay. Next attempt. Gentle Tide. Makes sense. Activate 3 protective wards. Hope that these guys would be ready. Which they really will not. Who would we take in this journey? I guess that wasn't my highest shield breaker character anyways. Do we have enough 6s to potentially take on the boss? Somewhat, although it would be nice to reduce these 3s. I probably don't have enough to do that though. Meanwhile, you take the Antiquarian again. No, his stress is too high. You probably take this guy because... No, I don't think you take that guy. You want to take people you aren't really doing anything with. Which, yeah. Even this Vestal has had this fearfulness for a long time, I think. And let's just take the Flagellant. It's dumb. No, we can't take the Flagellant. Gotta take like the Bounty Hunter. And then we'll take that character too. Is a Plague Doctor really useful in the Cove? Or should the Bleeds? Shouldn't we go with more of a bleed character? I think we should go with more of a bleed character. Which would kill that Jester, almost certainly. What we really want is a instant kill character. Just go with the Cultist. I think that works. And then this. Okay. This guy's only willing to drink, which means the stress is never going to go away, which means we need to just get rid of this, as expensive as that may be. And then that pretty much says we can't get rid of anything else. We could go for diseases and try and remove this, but those 2 diseases aren't even that bad for that character. That's not that bad for that character. That's not that bad. 4 speed is kind of bad, so then there's an argument of getting rid of that disease, but that's really it. As far as the characters that we have here, got 2 level 4 characters that I can't upgrade, even if I did have the gold to do it. So we're going 2 4s, 2 5s, which that does seem like that's the way this is going to boil down to. I am noticeably getting better at sorting out the the items and using the menus. 15% damage if in position 1, -3 virtue chance. Let's see, what would your damage base be if we did that? Probably be about like 2 more damage. Our accuracies and crits are probably way better. You should just look at all the available items. 6% crit versus Eldridge, +8 dodge, -1 speed. 20% more damage, 10% stress. I kind of feel like that might be better. +8 dodge, -1 speed. Because it's not like this guy is doing a lot of damage anyways, as the occultist. Whatever, let's just get into the next run. If I have any chance of making it to the end of this game, it really is going to boil down to having a lot of what we're looking for. A lot of these experiences just sped up, like no goofing around. And I think at this point I am just going to start playing much closer to this. Still have 2 stacks of food, but only 1 stack of torches, 2 shovels. Seems believable. Skeleton key, maybe not even really necessary as I'm thinking about it. Bandages might be more worth it. I don't think we need anti-venom though. So we're hoping to get kind of lucky, and we're hoping to get a lot of gold and reward.
The flopping fish-like things abhor the warding sigils. Let us claim this place anew.
So we'll only have to make a decision really later on in this dungeon. I'm just gonna kind of leave things. The problem, of course, that we'll run into is eventually this is gonna become too dangerous, and we may not want to run back through the whole area.
Decimated.
But I guess I'm willing to take that risk. Or we just run into a bunch of enemies that start killing me all over again. I suppose we also need to keep a general idea of who are the 2 that are level 4 and who are the 2 that are level 6. It's the back 2 that are level 6.
Destroyed.
And that may lead to a slight difference, or kind of a small difference as far as how much damage the different characters can take, or what the action is going to be. Yeah, marking somebody and getting a crit for 40. But then you balance that with a dodge by the enemy.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Yep. You get through all of these areas, until our lights are all the way down, and then we use the camping to potentially increase our scouting. Bleed. Would bleed be the effect here to use? I suspect that isn't the right effect to use.
Obliterated.
If I knew that was going to just get a crit. Probably would have tried something else. Attack the other guy. So yeah, it does seem like if you took 2 level 6s or even 3 level 6s and then 1 level 4, you could potentially on an easy run or even a medium level run level them up that way.
Continue the onslaught.
That's going to be slower than I would want.
All. A trifling victory, but a victory nonetheless.
Breaking this. I'm just going to ignore that. Could get lucky and run into the things we're supposed to use the items on and free up the items.
Secrets and wonders can be found in the most tenebrous corners of this place.
So now we're at pitch black.
A spark without kindling is a goal without hope.
Okay. So now we're looking for scouting abilities. Tracking. Plus 25 damage for 2 battles. Resistances for 4 battles. I mean, we really don't have a lot to do here. This isn't a good combination. You can just heal everybody for 20%. Yep. That really wasn't a good collection of skills for the people to have. We're also kind of low out of food.
Spirits are lifted and purpose is made clear.
And that'll become a problem. Might now be the time to get desperate. You know this will give us food, so taking advantage of that, not a bad idea. And it gives us 4. Hey, and the collector's back. So maybe the collector only shows up in this area. That might be the case. So maybe you just need to do the cove over and over again to grind the collector versus doing any of the other areas. The cove does kind of have a feeling of being being a DLC that I assume it's DLC that actually has more benefits than negatives, where every other area kind of sucks. And I assume that they are actually not DLC as far as the areas, but I'm not certain. And I really have no idea as far as what Darkest Dungeon 2 will look like. You'll probably just have 4 different locations with 4 collections of other kinds of enemies, while bringing back the locations and enemies from the first game to some level.
Is often blind to its own peril. Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
So we'll get rid of that. Can you run into the collector twice in one run? I suspect you can't. But the fact that we were able to defeat the collector fairly easily is nice. Certainly appreciate not getting destroyed, although look there, I just got destroyed. Of course, I guess I can heal him back, mostly. Get rid of at least one of these guys before the next turn. Attack with this.
Impressive. Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
And I guess the question just comes down to, can I potentially heal with my cultist character, or should I just attack?
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They
1500 versus 750 versus that. Start with that. I'll take that. Shovel equals more gold. But are we at the point where we'd want to do that? No.
Carelessness will find no clemency in this place.
Have we tried everything in this before? No. So this is kind of a good point to experiment with some things. I'm gonna say no to the shovels. I will say yes to the anti-venom. Was that the guy that needed to be purified and cleansed? Probably not. It almost certainly should have been that guy. At any point we could stop seeing fights in the rooms. At any point we could stop seeing we could find the other 2 locations.
Annihilated.
2 down in the first turn. Not bad.
Death waits.
But they keep throwing the heavy hitters at us.
Concentration.
What's going to be irritating, though, is if we get the Calmer Tides effect, we do this lower level mission, and then we take our A-team of characters and they fail at killing the Siren or Wars.
The blood quickens. As victories mount, so too will resistance.
There's another one done. We just get no scouting at all. Our scouting ability must be really low. About to hit pitch black.
Darkness closes in, haunting the hearts of men.
At pitch blackness, we could take this now. That just gives us some knowledge. Now we've got to turn around and just walk back and hope to not trigger another trap, which is all that can really be in this area. Well, nope. Apparently there is a boss fight. Or a hallway fight, not a boss fight. It's a little difficult to tell that this character is in stealth when it's pitch blackness.
The match is struck. A blazing
Bring
star
everything
is born.
back up to 100%. One down. These guys can basically do all their attacks in any order. This would be the time to have used the torches. Again, just try to heal our character, because we don't have food to potentially waste on that.
A powerful blow. A singular strike.
That'll save me some stress by killing that guy, and then we'll just get lucky.
Ghoulish horrors, brought low and driven into the mud.
I was trying to hold on to like one torch, but one torch is all I really would need. In case you were going to sacrifice it against something, but honestly, if you were going to sacrifice a torch against something, it probably would summon a giant boss fight that I could not survive anyway, so... Oh, out of water. Let's kill these characters, because I don't think Shocker is terrible, but it sometimes can suck. There is definitely a level of insanity that needs to be mentioned as far as just how many games are out there that have just so many collections of different enemies. How many times in my life have I been in a RPG game of some sort, whether it's turn-based or action-based, where I'm just trading blows with enemies over and over again. Compare that to most people's experience as far as just how many real-world fights that they've been in. It's like going to be a ridiculous difference.
The path is clear. We require only the strength to follow it.
I don't know why I got rid of the torches to get holy water. Well, no, it's not even the average person's experience. I imagine your average gamer has been in a factor of 10, if not 100 times more fights in a video game than a professional boxer has been in boxing fights, or a MMA taekwondo type person has been in. Like, even if you are practicing boxing and doing practice matches, you aren't doing anywhere near as many conflicts as a gamer would.
Executed.
That's hardly me trying to make an argument to say video gamers are inherently more violent than anyone else. It's just video games are fictional, and with that fiction it allows for a lot more narrative conflict to happen through violence. Whereas in the real world, people have to rest and store up energy. And obviously I'm not very interested in this game because I'm just rambling. I probably am at the point where I should really consider just giving up on this game. It's not invoking the rage quit feeling, certainly, and that's let me stick with it as far as I have, but it's also not really blowing me out of the water with anything new or anything that would improve the situation.
How quickly the
This guy
tide
is
turns.
potentially going to die. I may need to just move him out of position.
Precision and power. The wounds of war can be healed.
He has a lot of
Never
health,
hidden.
so I'd have to be able to heal him a couple times and avoid him just bleeding
The
out.
ground quakes. Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
Just take the food. Curio room with no fight. There it goes. Oh, we had more food. I didn't realize we did. I thought I just used the last bit of my food. Curio. Curio. The further we get into this fight, unfortunately, or into the dungeon, it seems like we're running into stronger and stronger enemies. 7 damage, or 3 damage per round would almost guarantee that this guy dies in the next 2 rounds, but just getting rid of it now is probably a better bet. Now all we can do is really attack this guy. I imagine the horrors of fish-like creatures probably don't affect people as much as they may have in the past. It would make some level of sense if you were spending a lot of your life living in a pure city. Kill that, yeah. And you were seeing a lot of fish-like creatures that were weird and bizarre looking, and compared to the things you see on land, yes, a lot of the fish-like creatures do look weird and bizarre looking. Alien, I guess would be the right term. But I imagine even my generation doesn't spend a lot of time going to the ocean or looking at marine life to have anywhere as much of an obsession as somebody, say, in the 1700s, 1600s, where their families were working on ships and there was a lot more fishing going on, depending on the region. And I'm definitely thinking from the perspective of the British Empire and pirates and stories around all that. Okay. Gotta get rid of something. So, get rid of the food. And we're just hoping this hunger thing doesn't pop up.
And now the true test. Hold fast or expire.
No, I want this here. I want this guy here. This is a level 4 character. Quest location. Trap, curio. Okay, we can just do this. As long as he doesn't bleed to death. But he doesn't seem like he's going to bleed to death. As long as we don't... Well... As long as he doesn't bleed to death. Or die here.
Patient. It will wait.
I didn't see that there was going to be a room battle.
Grievous injury.
There is no room battle here. Alright. Move those two out of order. Maybe I should move another character in his place, but... One down. Two down. Heal this character again. But see that he needs bleed resist. Anybody I'm playing with needs to be to have a bleed resist if they are going to get healed by the occultist. 3 down. 4 down.
Success so clearly in view. Or is it merely a trick of the light?
We're gonna toss the key, as stupid as that may sound, unless we have something else here that's not worth it. We're gonna click here. We know no items we have will work with this. That gives us a debuff. Doesn't matter. I may not even care about losing this character at that rate.
More dust, more ashes, more disappointment.
We've got all this gold. Let's get rid of that. And then this is worth 500, where... Or this is only worth 1,000, so take that.
packs full of steel and
Still
war.
a small chance
But
that
nary a thought given to the plow.
we would lose. Right.
Injury and despondence set the stage for heroism or cowardice.
Okay. Dark 1.
And now,
Pitch blackness.
the darkness holds dominion. Black as death.
And we are now potentially just going to walk back, and I see that there's a fight here, so forget it. We've got to go now. It gives us a decent amount of gold, which really we're just going to spend on a bunch of stress reduction, I imagine. A lot of crests to upgrade things. Leaving all of the unopened items feels like it should give you some reward for that. But I don't think it does.
The frothing waters subside.
15% damage in the cove. And so our goal will be to take on the beguiling siren with our highest level characters we can possibly take, with the lowest stress we can possibly take. Bounty Hunter has quite a bit of stress. It really is just not a solution, though. We need characters with bleed attacks. Not so much blight attacks. And none of these characters have anything like that. So you're just out of luck. Cove. The real move here would be to just do another mid-turn run, because everybody's just too stressed still. We got some gold from that, so that was not a mistake per se. It was just the reality of the situation. Okay. Even at this, we are still running into problems. Yeah, this is our crazy team. Send a level 1 on something that will almost certainly kill him for a level 3. Or we throw some support. level 6 characters in who don't have that much stress. Yeah, you throw that guy in. And then we'll start to think about this. Level 3 with fearfulness on the bestial. It's probably the wrong move. So honestly, it probably is not the worst idea to think about something like that. But really, that's your choice. Do we have any better options? Sure. Level 4 shield breaker. Yeah, we could get rid of our level 2 and put the level 4 shield breaker in. And try and bring up a new level 4 shield breaker that's not fearful. Let's see if we can pull off the attacks we want to pull off. If this guy is going to play more of a stunner role. And I guess at a certain level that means I really should have this character as our support, level 6. Got a couple items we can immediately give this character. And there really should be something that this character can do. +2 speed, at the very least. As far as buying items, we can't really afford that. Okay. So now let's just get back to our stress party. Alright. We've got this guy that's gotta go. This character that we'll try on that one. Do I get my money back if I say cancel the treatment? It will not be refunded, no. Right, so these two here should just be at the bar. And then our heavier characters should be up here. And there goes all that money I earned. This really does just highlight problems. Increased stress recovery, you get more benefit from increasing that stress recovery. And so the tips and trips guide said that upgrading this stuff was not worth it. I think I have to kind of disagree, at least in my way I'm playing, which maybe is just the wrong way to play. There's another character. 5 5 5 5 5 5 4 4 4 4 4 4s all the way down. Like, it would be nice to get to the point where we're very rarely needing to check up whether we can upgrade somebody. Alright, well, I think I want to do something different here. I'm going to take a bit of a break and pause the recording, which is something I can do and just don't usually do when I'm pre-recording footage. And then we'll come back because, yeah, we're just gonna have to take on this short veteran level 3, or we do a long veteran level 3, which maybe you do the long veteran level 3 and that will give us more experience and save us not having to deal with the lack of gold. But yeah, I'm gonna pause the recording, and for you it'll just be a second. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's reevaluate everything here. Yeah, everything is still kind of in order for what I want to do. Apparently ancestral ranking items are kind of a more limited class than I thought, so there is like an achievement for getting all ancestral ranking items. In the break I took, I read a full walkthrough instead of just tips and tricks, which better explained what's going on with this game, and honestly it just does not paint a good picture. This rank here that goes up is called the infestation rank, and it, I think, may go, well, it obviously goes higher than 6, so it probably goes to like 9, and that is the thing that is going up and up and up, making it more difficult every time we do one of these quests. At some point you're supposed to run into a gatekeeper, and then you would fight the gatekeeper to get an invitation to get inside the Crimson Court, which the Crimson Court DLC isn't just the it isn't just the online component of it. There is a whole other dungeon that you have to find called the Crimson Court in this empty white space, which I guess kind of makes some sense that there's some empty white space, but there's a little bit of empty white space here too. There is an endless run after you beat the bosses at the farmstead to continuously do the farmstead over and over again. And there's just a lot of other grim things. Like, the things that were not mentioned, and I just have to assume, is when you defeat a boss, the final bosses in all of these areas, you probably are just getting that trophy item, and that's it. It doesn't seem like it's actually going to make the Darkest Dungeon any easier. And when you defeat the Darkest Dungeon run, one of these runs, you are going to not really be able to bring back that same team. It removes them from the roster, so 4 would be subtracted from the total that you could have, but it keeps them so you can still use them and puts a little torch next to them. But they won't go back to the Darkest Dungeon without taking on massive stress, and that's only if you have the option of redoing quest, I suspect. Never again here. At the end, in the final run of the Darkest Dungeon, there are 2 scripted events that will kill 2 of your characters. Absolutely, you get to pick which 2 characters, but you're bringing in a team of 4 level 6 characters with just the assumption that you're going to lose. The Darkest Dungeon runs are not random at all. They are scripted map layouts. So what this all boils down to, though, is that this game has just defeated me. Like, I'm gonna jump into this run. I'm gonna give it a week. Certainly one more round and probably one more episode. But there's not really a way to win here. It's just that simple. Any hope you could have of winning is going to be dashed. Let's see. Why even take 4 torches? That really is kind of pointless. Might as well just start with no torches for this super long scouting event. So this game is really more of a lifestyle commitment game, I would say, than a game that you could buy like and expect to put 30 to 60 hours into and actually succeed with. At least that's my experience I'm having with it. I'm fairly certain we've put 30 hours, 40 hours, probably closer to 50 hours. It feels like 50 hours into this game, and I just am not feeling it. Like, I'm not. I was never really onboarded. I was never really given a chance to learn a lot of the stuff. There's massive things that the Crimson Court and the Color of Madness DLC change, and so with those extra changes, it makes things even weirder.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope.
If I was to go and like check achievements, let me see if I can do this without just totally screwing this up. Like, I have about a third of all the achievements in the game, and I'm just gonna click away from this. Yeah, it says I've had this game running for 220 plus hours. Sorry, the music went quiet when I clicked off the screen on my second monitor. I'm fairly certain some of these achievements here all these are the ones that I've unlocked, I guess. So I have like some achievements that only 16% of players have done. That doesn't really mean much though. The one here to really look for is an achievement specifically around beating the game. And I am scrolling down on a lot of these achievements, and they are down below 5% of players ever got them. A lot of these achievements are straight up DLC things, so people bought the DLC and really didn't purchase it. Interesting, the audio decided to pop up there because a GeForce driver pop-up happened, and it clicked, I guess, back on the game. Well, I'm missing it. But it's gotta be less than 5%. No, I guess maybe it might be higher. Well, I can't find it. Interesting. There was supposed to be an achievement. Maybe it's just not on Steam. Let me play.
A devastating blow.
for beating the darkest dungeon, beating the game, getting to the credits. But I can't find it under these Steam achievements. But I can say, well, over half of the achievements are less than 10% of players have collected. Now, some achievements are crazy. The ones in this game are only crazy because the game is crazy, though. There's nothing here that's super insane, like have a single character walk for 10,000 steps. There's an achievement for having a single character walk 100 steps, which that's not that much. So the setup here is to go through this run and then take our level 6 to the darkest dungeon and do the first attack on the darkest dungeon. That'll at least give us room to potentially recruit more people. Oh, by the way, the Farmstead DLC adds characters called mercenaries after you do the Farmstead DLC and defeat the 3 bosses there, and then you can hire mercenaries who are level 6 characters and to use only in the Farmstead and nowhere else. There's also at least 1, if not 2 or 3 traveling enemies that other DLC adds that we have just not seen or haven't seen very often.
Their cursed champion falls.
I guess the question to ask, and this is a kind of awkward way to say this, but if you almost certainly have had the experience where you've eaten a pizza where the crust is 2-3 times as thick as it really should have been. That's what this game is you just are not capable of getting to the meat of the sandwich. I guess that would be the better analogy to use, outside of all of this fluff and grinding. And this could certainly have been a different experience. If I had liked this game like I liked Binding of Isaac, I would have been perfectly happy. Now, in all fairness, perhaps the people that really enjoyed this experience played it in its early days and then were on the path of getting only 1 bit of DLC every couple of months, which led to a more serialized experience around this. It doesn't become as big of a deal if the new content that you're getting is 6 months after the original launch of the game. Let's see who has the best disarm. Well, you know what? Let's just go with this guy, because why not?
Mechanical hazards.
There's also no curios in the darkest dungeon runs at all. So there's no obstacles, there's no curios. You're really just supposed to fill your whole inventory with bandages and medicine and items that I've generally just not been using in the way you would expect them to be used. And yeah, I am expecting to do 1 more episode of this series, but I'm not expecting to go anywhere, do anything else with it. I don't feel like this is going to be Binding of Isaac where I'd come back a year later and want to play more. Now I do have a save file that is somewhat built up, so if I had completely forgotten all the frustration that I have at this moment for how much this game has made me grind to this point, and I started from scratch with this save file, I probably could put another 30-60 hours into it. I wouldn't be enjoying it any more than I am enjoying this now, though. So yeah, I think I'm just willing to say Darkest Dungeon beat me. Usually I play all games to the end, but there are a few games that I call rage quits. Very rarely are they actual rage quits, though.
Monstrous size has no intrinsic merit.
I'm not a rageous person
be considered a virtue.
that much in video games. There is kind of a fairly limited number of characters that they suggested for one of the Darkest Dungeon runs, by the way, so...
Circle in the dark. The battle may yet be won.
Really, I don't think I want to do much of anything other than possibly remove stress on everybody. Yeah, we will definitely get back to the idea of balancing out stress when we do the Darkest Dungeons. The walkthrough basically said don't play any of these characters that add stress, don't play any of these items. So they are useless items, it seems. At least for that final Darkest Dungeon run. Unless it's really a case that the Darkest Dungeon run is really just not the main focus of this game anymore, which is somewhat believable with all the other locations and all the other bosses. That being said, if I somehow, by some miracle, did defeat the 3 Darkest Dungeon runs, I think it then does a New Game Plus. And maybe that's what I should have been doing. That might convince me to keep on playing. I doubt it, though. Yeah, we have another enemy we've never seen. Also, there's a whole bunch of enemies I haven't seen. It really is just the time investment that's the problem.
Ringing ears. Blurred vision.
Even a small bit of text telling you to go ahead and take on the Darkest Dungeon run, that you're strong enough to take on the Darkest Dungeon. Even a small thing like that would be helpful.
Precision and power.
This should be like the 5th attack.
Weakened.
It is weird how this character in particular, the Shield Breaker, is getting much more of a story experience than any of the other characters.
Victory. Perhaps the turning point.
So yeah, pause now if you want to read this. So 5 of 7, there would still be 2 more of those. Shieldbreaker, 33 max HP versus Blight Resist. Well, by far that's better. And then it's just going to come down to what are we going to toss? We can't really use our items for anything. has use for anti-venom at the moment.
If only treasure could staunch the flow of otherworldly corruption.
Empty room, boss room with battle. And our inventory is completely full.
Finding the stuff is only the first test.
We shouldn't have clicked
Now
on
it
that,
must be
really.
carried home.
Should just left it. There's just no point. Yeah, this really, the experience I've had here really shows why The Binding of Isaac is such a genius game in comparison to this. And Binding of Isaac, I'm almost certain was out before this game was, so why they didn't take a similar concept, I don't know. But Binding of Isaac really limits itself down to just 10 floors, 10 levels, 10 dungeons, and after you beat that first 10, like 5 to 10 times, then it expands to being longer events. But you really feel like you've won the game. It gives actual credits on each successful run of those first 10 floors. It also gives you an opportunity to always claim a victory early in The Binding of Isaac instead of going deeper, more difficult levels and floors. Like, you can pretty much just call it quits if you're not having a good run and lock in a win streak, which the win streak doesn't really even do anything in Binding of Isaac, but it makes the player feel very nice, certainly, and feel like they're succeeding. Binding of Isaac is a pretty difficult game early on, and until you get all the tricks and movement mechanics down. But it's doable. Where this game is a difficult game that's not realistically doable by my scale. This is a game that somebody who likes to play Dungeons and Dragons for 8 hours 3 times a week would love. Somebody who just wants to put a ton of time into it. It's not the fast action you would expect from a video gamer. And very rarely do I criticize a game by saying this actually shouldn't have been a video game and instead should have been a board game of some sort. Like Dungeons and Dragons, or I don't know if Dungeons and Dragons really qualifies as a board game, but yeah, same difference.
The wounds of war can be healed.
I could see these little paper characters, flat paper characters, being cutouts or being little statues, and then there being a bunch of enemy statues, and just playing this on a table with a group of friends. 4 friends would make all the sense in the world.
Clearly in view. Or is it merely a trick of the light?
It's just
a moment of respite. A chance to steel oneself against the coming horrors.
It's just, again, do all of this. Buff. I don't even know if I'm actually doing the right move here. I'm probably resting too early. I'd assume we're not going to get ambushed by the snakes a second time.
In Radiance, may we find victory.
That would make a lot of sense. Arguably, the game is just not easy enough on easy mode. Yeah, if I was doing double the damage always and taking half the damage, I would be in such a better position. I potentially wouldn't have a single character to ever die on me. It would definitely take out the themes of it being a dark dungeon somewhat and make the game feel maybe a little too generic, but you just put a big warning at the beginning of a very easy baby mode. Just call it baby mode, I don't care. Even. But when I selected easy, I expected the experience to be easy. I didn't expect it to be simply hard and everything else being even harder. Some of the enemies that you encounter in the darkest dungeon runs do about 30 damage to start with, so unless they have a dodge base of 20 that's being subtracted
and driven into the mud,
then
another mariner, another misfortune. Packs laden with loot are often low on supplies.
Take everything else because I'm not gonna. I'm too full. The chances of there being this many rooms. There's an achievement, by the way, for dying against an obstacle and dying of hunger. $750 be 1500 versus 1750. No, it wouldn't have been. That was stupid. I got rid of the wrong thing. Should have gotten rid of the gold. No. We're gonna be
Terrors may
pitch black.
Indeed stalk these shadows, but yonder, a glint of gold.
With being potentially surprised,
A decisive pummeling.
get put out of order, which can really wreck your strategy. This character's dash forward attack, by the way, also seems to reduce its damage overall. So it's not as nice of a effect as I thought it was. There's an achievement for having all 4 of your characters defeated.
Dust, more ashes, more disappointment.
By a boss fight. That was just straight up a death blow. There was
mortality clarified.
I don't think his health was at 0. Yeah, debuff self, minus 10 damage, minus 10 speed.
This expedition at least promises success.
That, and then that, so we can get that item and that item back. 250, 500, 375. And we abandon quest.
Great adversity has a beauty. It is the fire that tempers.
So that was another medium tier attempt at leveling up level 4 characters. We had level 6 character, level 3 character, level 3 character, and level 4 character to potentially get the right kinds of characters up to level 6. And it was a complete failure.
The degeneracy of the hamlet is nothing, I fear, when compared to the condition of surrounding acres.
What week are we on, by the way? That's a question to ask. So, I'm not too far from getting an achievement for playing for 2 years. Like 52 times 2, 104, week 104. We have the 3rd level bosses from one area, 3rd level bosses from one area, 3rd level bosses from one area, 3rd level bosses here. Then this brigand incursion we've only seen once. And then the Darkest Dungeon stuff. And then the farmstead stuff is implied like you're supposed to do that later. A lot of characters here won't work in the Darkest Dungeon. Some of these characters would absolutely, I think, be needed in the Darkest Dungeon runs. So we just aren't anywhere. We just have not made any progress in this game time. Let's just take a step back. Exit to the main menu. Game autosaves, there's no big risk there. Says the time that it was saved at and the week. It does not say how long you've been playing. Okay, so the Crimson Court DLC was not enabled, and that's why I haven't seen it. Arguably, you maybe shouldn't have turned this on, or this is actually helpful. Crimson Court versus the Butcher Circus. I keep mixing those two in my mind. Musketeer is like, you might very well have a better experience if you turn off these 3 characters just to focus on the others. Turn off this. This gives more district buildings on top of districts, so it's kind of worth having that turned on. But yeah, I'm basically giving up on ever even playing the Crimson Court DLC. And no, it doesn't say how many hours we've been in this, but we can probably make a general estimate that it has been close to 94.
Our family name, once so well regarded,
divided by 3,
now barely
or
whispered aloud by
94
folk.
divided by 2. Take your pick.
In time, you will know the tragic extent of my
We're not
failings.
really getting any of this storyline. It's just not going to happen. Not that I cared about any of the storyline. Anyways, I didn't read the hints for the game, for the characters. So why in the world would I have even read the storylines? Right. So the nightmare problem about this too is I really am just gonna have to set up a group to fail. And there's just no way around it if we're gonna do the next episode at the Darkest Dungeon. Because if I'm gonna have any chance, I kinda shouldn't take the Man-at-Arms in the first one, because I need him for the second one, because there's a slightly different event that happens there. So potentially if you take this guy, he won't come back. You won't be able to use him. Yeah, honestly, none of it matters. It just doesn't matter. We don't have a team that can win. So we should just admit we can't win. We should take a group of people that can hopefully get us further along. I saw no strategies around stress reduction. So increasing stress is a mistake, they say, and I'll believe them. And then, like, increasing damage against Eldritch is probably not the thing that matters. So we need to get rid of the Barristan's head. I have no idea where that even came from as an object. This one's dodge is probably high and we probably want it. 15% stress. 10% stress. Yeah, I probably don't have any other choice. Just do that. And then this absolutely is not necessary because there's no mapping that happens there. Anyways. So that's our team. Meanwhile, we can see we've got a level 4 flagellant right as we're about to give up on the game. Instead of this level 1 flagellant, which you might as well just dismiss.
Suffer not the lame horse, nor the broken man.
Something like this is only for the flagellant, so I don't have to worry about that being the wrong move. As far as upgrades, sure.
More arrive.
Maybe get another achievement so that you can hold more characters.
Domain of the damned.
The good news is, if we needed to rest, although there really is no reason why you would need to rest after the Darkest Dungeon run, there is an achievement for taking 4 level 0 characters to the Darkest Dungeon run and just letting them be killed in the first fight, because that's what would happen. There's no real reason to do that, though. It's just for achievement hunting. We can't really upgrade anything else. We really haven't gotten anywhere as far as upgrading some things that might have been useful, like the camping abilities, or building the couple of these. Also these resources can only be farmed at the farmstead after you beat all the bosses. So there is no point where this really is that useful for a player like me. Like, for anybody that just wants to be 50 hours and be done. The only hope I have here is that I have misunderstood the situation to such a high level that I'm going to take on the Darkest Dungeon 1, 2, 3 times in a row, which I don't have enough people to do that because they won't go back, so not without a lot of stress. So I'd have to build a B team, of which I have 2 musketeers and a bounty hunter and a gravedigger for the second run, and then I would need to make a C team amongst this antiquarian, which you really can't use him, and then whatever selection of level 4 characters you think might actually succeed, which is none of them. None of them are gonna succeed. Yeah. I'm sorry to effectively end this episode and signal the beginning of the end of the series this way. And I do hope that maybe something will turn around and I might get a second wind, but I just don't suspect that it's the case. Very possibly the last recording is the next recording. But we have been going long enough for this episode, so I'm going to end it here. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.